Well, welcome, Robin.
Thank you.
So nice to have you. I know you said you do, it's like a book club. Like, what is that?
Yeah. So basically every month I connect with somebody. Usually the other person chooses the book because I want it to be something that they're excited about. And we just talk about it. It could be a therapeutic, more therapy themed in general, or it could be like an actual very therapeutic kind of book. Whatever it is, every book, basically you can pick themes out of. And we just talk about, what came up with the book. And
That's so cool. How'd you get into that?
I think I was just excited to do something, connect with people, put more therapy ideas out there, make it accessible, let people know you can find so much in reading, like bibliotherapy in a way it's called.
It's so true, by the way. I healed so much of myself just from reading books.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information out there. If you want to do the work, people are always who do I need to see? Who's the guru? It's no, you have to just pick up the book. You might be able to figure it out.
Exactly.
Even in therapy, the therapist recommended books.
That's what I'm saying.
You're supposed to do that. Yeah.
Because it adds, you're in therapy once a week.
Yeah.
Usually, typically it's once a week. But I always tell people being in the room is not enough. It's not enough to just go and be I'm in therapy. You got to take it out of the room. You have to carry it with you. So reading a book helps. If you're reading a little bit every day, it just solidifies what you're learning and what you really need to be practicing.
Right.
So
how long are you practicing therapy?
So it's just about 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you get into it? I feel so many therapists have their own personal story. For sure. I always wanted to be a therapist. You did?
Probably in grade school I still wanted to be I already then wanted to be a therapist. And yeah, I really just always had this calling towards it. I really wanted to be that person who was able to listen and support and make sense of. I have a very emotional side and a very practical side, and I just felt I can use those strengths to just be a container and be supportive and to help in certain ways, use my intuition. And then I ended up I did my bachelor's and I stayed home for a while with my kids, and I went back to school do it all in order. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about I love this book because The Choice by Dr. Edith A. Baker. I love it. It's really embodies so much of what I talk about and what I think that life should be and how we should operate. She talks I just think that yes, we all go through things. Life is not sparing anybody at any time. We come here because we're souls on a journey, and we have to do the work or else we won't be able to evolve and birth out the best versions of ourselves, right? And she could have been the most bitter person in the world. She had every right. She survived Auschwitz. And this whole book is you would think that she was dancing in a ring, just completely the way you look at your life. And she looked at her life and she looks at her life in such a, she's a privilege to be alive.
Yeah. The tone of her book is so hopeful.
Yeah,
it is. And also, even when you think of in your regular life, if you know any perfectionists or if you are a perfectionist often feels they're not enough, until they're perfect. And I feel in this book, she's almost saying you just have to enjoy what is. And a perfectionist is often striving for perfect. And if I'm not perfect, then I'm not good. And I always say but if I was perfect, I probably wouldn't be here. As long as you're on this earth, there's always work to do, obviously. Again, otherwise we probably wouldn't be here. And so being able to embrace your
humanity,
flaws, imperfections, be honest with yourself about them.
Right.
You're allowed to say, I still want to grow, but also embracing yourself as you are. And I feel she did that with her situation, which is unbelievable, because how could you embrace an unembraceable situation? It doesn't even make so much sense. And that's why I think her book is so fascinating, because she really did that in extenuating circumstances.
Right. And there's a bunch of different points that I love about the book. I want to go through them with you. The first is that she really took off the victimhood and she just owned her life. She had a responsibility in her life, and she has that. Being harmed is not your fault. You didn't do it to yourself. But staying stuck in that harm is a choice and that you can make, you know?
Right. It could be you were a victim at one point, but you don't want to get stuck in victimhood or in that victim mentality. You really ideally want to be an overcomer.
Right.
Ideally.
Right. Like, you know, you're being harmed you walk around with it and you hold it and you think that like you made it happen some way, somehow, you know, you feel like a little like dirty or like broken, you know, and like you can walk around with that and like hold it and you know, keep it in your pocket.
Yeah.
And it like is this like, I don't know, monster kind of inside, and it really can make you feel like you have to hold it forever. Like it's like your imaginary, like horrible codependent abusive friend, you know?
Yeah.
That you just have to keep holding their hands, and you realize one day at some point you're like, wait, like I don't have to be your friend. Like I can let you go now.
Right. There's 3 words that come up as you're saying it. I'm thinking like shame, blame, guilt. Like that's the package deal, right? Like shame, blame, guilt. You're carrying it. And also you're saying very much aligns with like principles of IFS. Like there are parts of you that were wounded, but you can like set them free and you can nurture them. And you do that by like listening to them and nurturing them, not just like shoving them away, pushing them down. Like listen to them, be there, nurture. And then you could like, even if they don't get completely set free, like I'll give you an example. I'd say something like grief, right? You can never really, really let go of grief. If something happened to you, went through some kind of loss, even a loss for what you wished would have been and wasn't, it's always going to be a little part of you, but it doesn't have to be all of you, right? So sometimes we have parts of us that we can like pull out and look at sometimes and nurture and be there with them, but you're not living, it's not taking up all of you. You're not living in as that piece of you. You're not living as, you know, I am a shameful person or I am a grieving person.
Right. Like even the fact that like my parents got divorced when I was 12, and growing up in Borough Park, I couldn't tell anybody. You can't, and back in those days, like you couldn't, it was like this most biggest secret on earth for me. And it really turned into this like bad friend that I had in my pocket. And like, I would hold on to it. And then I always felt so different and so like just inside, like just not the same as everyone. Cause I had a big secret. Right. And I would carry it around with me all the time until I was just like, who cares? Like, why do I have to be the one to hold this? Like, I'm not a victim to it. It happened to me, but that's it. You know, like, let it go. You could still totally be a complete, healthy human being, you know, with a full life. Just because something happened to you, it doesn't mean that it has to now define who you are.
Exactly. And by the way, it's funny because they're saying like, you know, it happened a long time ago in Borough Park, but I want to say even if it happened to somebody like that, their parents got divorced.
No, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I happened to, that was just where I was at the time. No, but and no matter where it is.
No matter when, like, it's still, people still carry it as like a stigma or they carry like they.
But they do say statistically 12, 13 is like the worst time.
Okay, like it impacts you the worst at age. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like the most shaky. Yeah. Like when you're younger, you're younger. When you're older, like my husband's parents got divorced at 17, he already had like his stability of his childhood. But in that like rocky, shaky time when you're not a kid and you're not an adult and you're forming yourself, so you're forming yourself around this like, complete identity. That's when you come online.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that like that's what I remember. I remember moving from Borough Park to Farakway and just we had an apartment, and like I remember my high school years. I don't really remember my elementary school years so much because it was just so much going on, you know?
Yeah.
And then the high school years were just also like just really bad, like just so much, like all the tension from pre-divorce now became my responsibility because now I had to, whether I wanted it or not, but like single momhood is no easy feat. And I'm the oldest, so automatically I'm trying to help, I'm trying to protect, and I'm trying to make sure that everything's going to be okay. Whether I wanted to or not, it was just a role that I found myself in, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so before I knew it, and also all the anxiety and all the pent-up emotions from people around me were coming to me, you know?
Yes.
It was just, and then I had so much anger. I was so angry because of course I was angry. Also, I saw a quote and it said like, a parent's loss and a child's loss are not linear. One is horizontal and one is vertical. You know, like a kid, it's horizontal. It's changing their complete trajectory of their life.
Yeah.
For a parent, yeah, it's a loss. You're going to miss them for whatever reason. I'm not negating any of it, but it's not an equal experience. It's not. And so I had so much anger because it was only validated for the adult and not the children. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, this is so, there's so much going on here. Like, why is no one validating me? And why is no one focusing on me? Like, are you kidding? And also just pent up emotion. I guess in the end of the day, it was really, really the validation piece. Like, people say now, like, how do you handle when your child isn't blah, blah, blah? Or how do you make sure that you're a good parent? Or how will you make sure that your kids don't leave you? There's so much fear. And I just listened to a podcast the other day with kids who are alienating and ghosting and all that. And really, I've been saying this for a while. And the person said it on the podcast. And I was like, oh, yeah. The bottom line is validate.
Absolutely.
Validate your kids.
Absolutely. Yes.
Whether you think they're right or wrong, everybody wants attention.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be heard.
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Absolutely. Everybody wants to be heard. So the problem is that it's very hard to validate your child if you don't ever validate yourself. Not ever, that's extreme, but if you don't know how to validate yourself, right? If you talk harshly to yourself, talk down on yourself, think unkindly about yourself, I'm such a klutz, I'm so bad, I'm, whatever you're telling yourself, and you're not making space for your own self, how can you possibly make space for your child, right?
Exactly.
So you really need to be kind to yourself and be aware. I know it's scary for people to think of their emotions. So I don't want to be like that woo person that's thinking of my emotions all day. You don't have to think about your emotions all day. I always tell people, like, check in with yourself a couple times a day, just 2, maybe 3 times a day. Like, okay, what's going on for me right now? How am I? Like, just ground yourself. Just like pick a feelings where that applies to you. The more you're able to give that to yourself, the more you're able to give that to your children.
Totally.
And what you said before also, like at 12, 13, at certain ages, really, children see themselves through the eyes of their parents. Like, the way my parent is looking at me or thinking about me or making space for me, like, that's what I think I'm worthy of and that's what I think I deserve, right? And if the parent's not able to give that to me, then I guess I have to do something different, or maybe something's wrong with me. And like, they try to figure it out, and it gets really heavy and burdensome and so complicated.
It's so true. It's so crazy. You're making me think, because like I had my boys, I had 5 boys. I think it's beyond incredible that you have 5 girls. I'm telling you right now, like, I thank Hashem that I have one, because of what I'm about to say. But I think that for the parent having the same gender, there's so much inner work and inner growth that happens with that. And honestly, Hashem tested me. I wasn't ready for that level of growth. Hashem gave me boys, and I davened for each boy. I wanted them to be a boy. I knew myself I wasn't ready. Like, I couldn't tap into that. It was way too much. And by the time my daughter came around, I did do a lot of the inner work, and I did become, like what you said, much more compassionate with myself and much more validating to myself, so that by the, I was okay with so many things. When she came, like, I remember looking at her when she was a baby, like a newborn, and I just had this like overflowing sense of compassion for her as a little girl. I'm like, she's just a little girl in the world, And obviously that was what I was feeling for myself. And then I would look at other women and other girls, and I would think the same thing. Whereas before, I had so much more like anger and so much more frustration. Like, just get it together. Like, just be good. Just be normal. Just shut up. Like all these critical negative things in my head that were just ruminating all the time. Why can't she just be a little bit more blah, blah, blah? And then I would look, once she was born, it's crazy. Like, it just changed. Yeah. Like, I started looking at people, women, girls, not people, not men. Men's different. With a completely different lens. And like, the people who get what I'm saying will totally get it. It's so nuanced, but like, it's just so real.
Yeah. That's very interesting to me because, right, I don't know the mother-son experience. So like that, I'm actually really fascinated by, like, how it was so different. But because maybe I would have guessed that for all parents, it would be similar, like once you have a child, but you're saying really not. There's something about a mother having a daughter, that the daughter like kind of
Yeah.
It's a healing.
It's a very healing thing. You can either really continue the cycle of your own mental jargon, or you can just work through it and change it and just become somebody that's so much more compassionate and validating and loving. And you pass that on to your child in a completely different way. And it's just, I can understand very much cognitively, mentally, how the generational trauma gets passed. I understand it. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. And I always harbored a lot of resentment towards not like to a lot of family members, because I saw the clear passing of that.
Should have done the work.
Yeah. I just saw it being handed over clearly. And I'm no blame. It's the most human thing. We're all here to finally switch things up, but yeah, it does definitely make it harder,
Yeah. And I love that you said no blame, because I need everyone to know that, like, whenever we talk about things that have to do with your parents, a lot of people get nervous, oh, I don't know, it's not my parents' fault, my parents are amazing. And I'm never out to get anyone's parents. Your parents are amazing. Good. If you love your parents, great. I'm not looking to interfere with any of that, any of the good relationships. But it's okay to say, I recognize what my parent has been carrying, and I recognize how it impacted me. If you can't say that, call me, and you get triggered by that, to me, that's the question. Why is that really scary to say? Why? Everyone went through something, and everyone's been impacted in some way. Right. So, could you just be honest? And if it's hard to be honest, why?
Why? What are you so afraid of? Right. You have to also unravel to put things back together the right way. Mm-hmm. Right. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and this girl happens to be truly enjoy seeing life as peaches, plums, rainbows. Mm-hmm. But let's be real. It's not what it is. Right. And sometimes it bothers me so much, because I was I just want to shake her. Just, wake up, see the light. It sucks. Stop it. And the other day, finally, I caught her in a moment where she was open and receptive, and she wasn't just Baruch Hashem, which just drives me crazy. And I was just telling her, no, not necessarily, things that you're seeing are the way it is. She has, let's just say the story for us context. She has 2 siblings that are not speaking to their parents. Mm. Okay. And in her mind, her siblings are wrong. And I explained to her that, first of all, now that we're on this topic, it's my podcast, so we're going to say things real. Kids, I don't care what, never want to wake up one morning and say, great, let me cut off my hand. How about, I'll just carve out my heart. I'm not in the mood today. No one does that. No child wants to not have a relationship with their parents. It's not a thing. Right. And nowadays, it's all the hype is all around parent alienation and therapists. Hi, it's your fault. Of course. Yeah, because you're the one that's planting seeds in kids' heads. Okay, can you please talk? Yeah, I'm done talking.
So going back to what you said before, really, children need to feel validated. Nobody wants to cut off their parents. People are wired for connection. Children are wired to be connected to their parents. I have worked with children. When I was doing my internship, I was in an agency working with children who were in foster care, who came from abused homes, and they wanted to go back to their parents. Right. From terrible situations, and there's this natural desire, and they would deny things that we know really happened to them, but then they would cover it up and deny it because they just wanted to go back to their parents. Exactly. There's such a strong desire. I'm talking about extreme situations,
and that's why the people that you that are coming and sitting by you and can't admit, that's why they can't admit, because they just want to have a relationship with their parents, and nothing is going to jeopardize that.
Yeah. And okay, so that is such a good point, because you have to know it's not one or the other. It's not if I admit that I was kind of not really feeling held by my parent, or my parent wasn't able to be there for me emotionally, then I'm probably going to be one of those statistics. I'm going to become estranged. It's not one or the other. Right. But it's not so feeling.
Right. It's not so binary. It's not so extreme.
Totally not binary. Right. You're allowed to say oh wow, I wish I would have had my parent be a little more compassionate to me.
Validating yourself, right? Seeing it and just calling it out, and then you can move on.
Yeah.
If we don't, then we probably will repeat the same things that happened. And I remember speaking to my therapist a while ago, and she's a very well-known, respected individual in the community and beyond. It's not somebody flighty. She's not young. She's She has a lot of credibility. And she told me point blank in my face, she said, if a child doesn't want to talk to the parent, it's always, capital always, the parent's fault. Because it's not natural. A child will forgive a parent faster than a parent will forgive a child, because a child needs the parent for safety and security and emotional everything, nurturing. I saw this crazy video where it was a monkey experiment, but still, the monkey had food from one thing. Did you see this?
No.
It wasn't even a parent. They pretended to be a parent. They put food by like a chair, and then they put a blanket on another chair. And then there was like this loud noise or something. I don't remember what, but the monkey didn't go to the food for nurturing. It went to the blanket. Oh. Because in the end of the day, mammals, humans, whatever you want to say, nurturing is our survival. We need it to survive. So if a child goes so far as to remove themselves from the nurturing, then clearly that's their survival.
Yeah. You know, there's too much grief there. There's too much pain there. Their system can't handle that level of grief and pain, so they need to pull back. Yeah,
it's not natural.
Yeah,
it's just not. Yeah. So I was telling this girl, I was just like, listen, like there's a whole other side to the story. I'm like, you want to say that they're wrong because they're choosing this way, maybe, but they don't have another way. They don't know what else to do.
Right.
They're in so much pain.
Right. I would recommend that anybody who does take that route or feels that they have to separate. So again, you have to remember there's a difference between having a strained relationship and an estranged relationship, right? It's not the same thing. So a strained relationship could be like, you know, maybe we don't talk so often, but it's not like cut off, like you're not coming to my simplas, like you're not, like that would be completely estranged. Right. So again, there's levels, and really it's so important that even if someone is estranged, that they don't badmouth their parent, because, you know,
that's just bad energy on all ends.
You don't
need to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Just putting that out there. Someone had mentioned something recently about like meeting somebody and they had really been very verbal in a very like using kind of not nice language about their parent, and that person was just like kind of turned off by that. Like, yeah, why do you have to be so?
Yeah, you have to deal with that anger, and all that pent up emotion that's inside. But
it's painful. But just like you can still speak about your parent, you know, neutrally, if not respectfully, neutrally, or don't speak about them.
I just think that the point of life is to thrive and is not just to survive. So if you're dealing with a family member or a parent who's causing you to feel like you have to survive, then you have to take a step back and learn how to thrive. But if you took a step back and you're still in survival mode in your head and you're still angry and there's so much resentment, then that's a red flag too. That's something that you should be thinking about and focusing on and dealing with yourself, because peace in the end of the day is a state of mind in our heads. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily who we're around that's going to cause us to have peace or unrest. It's our state. Right. So you could still be in a relationship with that person and completely be estranged from them. So what are you gaining?
Right. So that's where the grief piece comes in, because you're always in a way in a relationship with them, because even if you cut off your parent, they still exist and you still know that they exist, like, and there still was something there. So it's hard, even if you cut them off in the present, they are living somewhere. And that's where there is a little bit of grief that you're probably carrying. And again, it's okay to acknowledge that.
Right. Everything just needs to be acknowledged and validated, whether it's by somebody else. And the thing is, so because I felt like I was missing this validation piece growing up, I became a validation whore. I needed validation from everyone.
That's exactly what happens. Yeah.
And I would like fight for it. Yeah. And like, if someone didn't understand me, like I would double down and like go in and like, I wouldn't let go. I wouldn't let up. And like, even Asana, when we first got married, he's like, whoa, like she's retarded. Like I would like claw in, and he would be like, you're doing it again. Like you're clawing in. And I'm like, okay, fine. And slowly, what I've come to realize is that I don't need anyone's validation. Nothing's going to ever change, because it doesn't make me feel better if one person validates or two people. I'm going to need, it's a void that will never be full. Yeah. And I'm like running around chasing a hungry ghost that I just need to get the more and more. And then I realized either I could get everybody's or I could get nobody's and just get my own. And then I'll be fine, you know?
I want to say that's earned security, because needing that validation comes from a place of like uncertainty or insecurity. Like, right, I'm right? Like I need you to validate me because I don't know that I'm right. Like I'm not sure. I need the validation. The more you're able to lean into your certainty, the less you need the validation. Obviously, validation is always nice. It's nice to hear, positive reinforcement. It's nice, but you don't need it as badly. When you feel more secure in your thoughts, in your opinions, in the way you show up, the more you build security, the less you need it. I think that's what you're saying.
Right. The more you build security, and then the more, I think I was forced to build security, because the more I would look for the validation, the more it was smacked in my face, and I wasn't getting what I wanted to hear. So then I realized, okay, I don't necessarily need to be so understood to be okay. Like, I understand me. I know what I went through. I am 100% your number one. I experienced it with you, and I believe you, and it's okay. And that's it. It doesn't matter if no one else does. I can still choose to live a peaceful existence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Like, just sitting with the parts of yourself that need you to sit with them.
Yes.
You are showing up for them, like the adult you. Part of you that's ready, like, hey, like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
You did go through that. That was awful.
Right.
I'm here for you.
And we think that we need so many people in our life at every moment. And then I like to challenge myself. And I always think this, like, I think this at different times, but I'm like, imagine if you lived like on top of a mountain. I always wanted to live on top of a mountain with horses, but I imagine if you live on the top of a mountain by yourself. How would you think right now? How would you feel? Who would matter?
Right.
Why would you care?
Right.
No, absolutely not. I would not care. I would be so happy. There's grass and trees and the sky and horses. Nothing, people's opinions don't matter, so be in that place right now, because it's the same thing.
It's really hard, because then people will come back with the argument and they'll say, like, but what about social norms? And they're scared. They're like, I can't go be all, hippie and do what I want, like social norms. So, which is true. There is something to that.
No, I'm talking about more of the validation piece, like getting validated by everybody. And then when you just choose yourself in peace, so you live in that state in your head, even though you're surrounded by people.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
You want to talk about that, about being yourself? No, 100%. I'm with you. Yeah, you still have to be socially normal.
Yeah.
I hear.
There's like that balance.
It's a balance.
You want to validate yourself, but sometimes, right, if you're not secure enough, you're not going to be ready to validate yourself through things that you're feeling uncertain about, because are they social norms? Maybe you never learned them. Like, there's a lot of nuance here also.
Yeah. But I find that the more I really don't do this anymore, but the more I used to run in and try to prove myself through other people, the less proving I got, and the more I needed to do it, which was Hashem's way of saying to me, come back home.
Yeah.
Come back to yourself, because there's no one else but you. And we have to really fill ourselves up with wholeness. That's what Hashem wants for us. That's what the soul's here for, to learn balance, to learn how to, really form into a whole person, and then everybody else who comes in is a cherry on top. Okay, you get it. You don't, I don't care. I'm living my best life, it's fine.
So yeah, are you saying, like, really the idea of building trust in yourself?
Building trust, building certainty, building security. Yeah.
That's important. And I do think people are wired for connection. You just don't need 100 connections necessarily. Like, you do need, a close friend, 2 close friends,
a husband, a parent, somebody who's in your corner 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
But you don't, but you just need to know, like, that's probably more than enough. You don't need everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. The next point that I wanted to talk about, back to Dr. Ager, being in Auschwitz taught her that the people there could take away everything from her except the ability to, exactly what we're talking about, to manage and choose our inner thoughts. Nobody could take away your thoughts. You have the ultimate freedom in your brain.
That's where the self-compassion is so important, because you do have ultimate freedom in your brain. So why wouldn't you be nice to yourself? Why is it so hard for people to think kindly about themselves and to just literally have that self-compassion? Be nice.
Yeah. In our brains, we are, like, I remember being little and, being spoken to, not nicely to my standards, at least, but like, it could just be like what you're saying. Like, I thought, like, I remember being in therapy when I was 20, and she was like, no, it wasn't okay. Like, you didn't grow up in and I was like, why? It was totally fine. Mm-hmm. Like, cause in my reality, it was fine. So even now I'm excusing certain things, cause I still think it was not as bad. But anyway, I remember being spoken to in ways that children should not be spoken to. And in my head, I was like, I do not accept this. It's not true. Mm-hmm. And I knew in my own head, I could build and plant the most beautiful garden because it was mine and nobody can go in.
That's amazing.
It wasn't strength. It was what I was born with. Thank you, Hashem. It's not me.
Okay. This like, but it is an internal.
I was very little. I was very little to know
That's amazing.
strength.
Yeah.
It's just, like,
Yeah.
I was blessed with this personality. I don't take credit for that. It's like I had blue eyes, like I didn't know to think any other way.
Okay. It almost sounds like it was a very like well adaptive. That's not a word. I think I just made that up. Coping that.
I wouldn't know the difference.
I'm thinking like, what's the opposite of maladaptive? Well adaptive. Active in a good way, but like that's a good way of coping, of looking at yourself and thinking like, okay, like this is what I could hold on to, and so I will. Yeah, that's incredible.
But it's so cool because you have your own little cocoon, and so we all have that inside ourselves. We all have the option, the capability to really decide what we're planting in our heads and what we don't want to.
Yeah.
It's ours. And so your circumstances at the end of the day, they don't own you. They're just, it's happening outside of you. Your thoughts, we can put ourselves into a bubble and stay there and not have to feel all the hurt and all the shame and all the blame that's going on around us, Yeah,
you can choose what you want to take in. Sometimes I say to people, like, you hear what people are saying, right? If you have hearing and people are talking, you hear it, but you don't have to listen to everything that people are saying. Like, you can choose, you can filter out what you're truly listening, taking in. The words will come and go. My grandma used to say, like, I'm going to say something to you. It's going to go in one ear and come out, and it could come out the other. She was like, I'm going to give you advice, take it or leave it kind of thing. But really, that's what it is. If people are saying things or doing things like you're going to hear it. What part do you want to take in or not?
Right. Exactly. I know my son the other day was freaking out. He's 7 and he's freaking out because everyone's bothering him and I'm like, you get to choose what you want to listen to. Don't listen. Sometimes you just have to shut it off. Like, we can't be so receptive to everything that's being said or spoken or going on around us.
Yeah. But that's really hard. It is really hard. I just want to validate, like, anyone who's like listening to this and thinking like, Either they're in a dissociative state and now they're happy about it. So like, no, I'm not that. I just want to make that clear.
Not that.
We're not talking about.
We know that. No, not that.
And validating your own experience is an important part of it.
Comes back to validating. Yeah.
I able to say like, oh my gosh, like this is horrible. Like
this is bothering me, or this is too much for me, or I'm feeling so many things right now, or it's all around me. Like, I need a break. I need space. Yeah. Validating 100%. If it's feeling like there's so much energy around you.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Like, it's definitely every single thing. I think at the end of the day could be so simplified, but if we're talking about it, it's obviously not simple. You know what I mean? Like, this whole thing is not, it's so easy. Life is so easy, but no, we're here. So it's obviously hard.
It's hard. And I think my fear as a therapist, like when I'm speaking about something, my fear is always that people will take it the wrong way. Like, again, don't take it as like permission to stay stuck because like, oh, this part sounds good. Like, okay, this is a lot of work and it's a package deal. You're going to have to feel your feelings. You're going to have to be aware of them, share them, ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? What's important to me? Like, there's a lot of steps around it.
Yeah. This actually brings us into the next point, which is avoidance is the real prison.
Yes. A moment of silence. Love it. Yes.
What do you have to say?
Oh my gosh. If you're avoiding, you think you're okay. And maybe you kind of are mostly in the moment. I feel like it's a short-term thing. Like, you're almost like surviving. You're living moment to moment. The avoidance is helpful to a certain extent. It is. Like,
could we talk about for a second, can you explain to the audience, because we just talked about this before the podcast, and I think people are interested in this topic. And like you said, people don't know. Can you talk about the different kinds of attachment styles? Because you mentioned avoidant, and I think it goes with it.
Yeah. Okay. So, that's interesting. I'm thinking about the attachment styles and like showing up as avoidance. That would show up in relationships. But so there's 2 different types of avoidance that I want to speak about, but there are ways of attaching where a caregiver and a child they bond in certain ways, right? So somebody who attends to their baby's cries, holds their baby, rocks their baby, makes eye contact with the baby, is very present with the baby, that child is going to grow up and have a very secure attachment. People in the world are good. People are here for me, right? They're going to grow up and they're going to have great relationships.
It's just babyhood?
Solid. It starts in infancy. Like, that's actually where it starts. Obviously, over time, You want it to continue, right? Young adulthood, making space for people's emotions, even like a 2-year-old. You know how many times people will tell their child, like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. Why? Maybe they fell. Maybe they want to say it hurts, right? Parents are scared of hearing their child say, like, it hurts, I'm sad, I'm scared. It's fine, it's not scary. It is scary to them. So it's okay to say, like, oh, you're scared. You don't have to make it into a bigger deal than it is, right? But it starts in infancy.
Still validating, right?
And then just being able to be present emotionally, like throughout their childhood. Whereas there's like the avoidant attachment and the anxious attachment usually are born out of either like something more severe like neglect or the hot and cold. Like sometimes they're able to be there, but sometimes they're not. And it's very confusing. So both of those will grow up into adults that are not really able to attach properly. Sometimes they're chasing and they need more. Sometimes they're pulling away depending on what they grow up with. Sometimes it's a mix, and that's disorganized attachment.
Yeah, disorganized is what I had. I like to say had. I hope it's had. But yeah, I now, thank God, because I came back to myself. So the security is mine. So I don't need to, and now I'm much, much more stable in how I show up. But I used to be going in, pulling back, going in, pulling back.
Yeah.
That's disorganized. That's the most confusing.
Very confusing.
Yeah.
And absolutely, you could build a secure attachment. That's called earned attachment. When you have a partner, a spouse,
Yes.
or if you're not married, a friend, somebody that you could rely on that balances you out, that's able to be there for you, that's able to be that steady presence. You learn. Relationships could be safe. I can trust you. I can rely on you. And that is so beautiful. And that absolutely builds secure attachment. And you could be in adulthood. I think they've done studies on this, that where in adulthood, you could be just as secure as somebody who was securely attached from birth, because you can actually build that.
Right. We're here to evolve. We're here to grow, right? Like just because you started off somehow, in some way, it doesn't mean that that's where you're going to be your whole life.
Yeah.
Just means you started there, but you can fly past everyone if you want to. Like the choice is yours.
Yeah.
When we got married, Nisana was very much avoidant, like to the max. And I was like disorganized, like freak. And yeah, it was just like, we both learned to help each other and be a safe spot for the other person. Like I had to calm down. He had to like show up more, and like, it's been a real, like an involvement, but like, it's crazy how there's like, we're all dealing within relationships in such different ways, everyone's not like, you think like the way you are is the way someone else is. 'Cause like, it's your reality, but
it's not always. And that was the other part of avoidance that I wanted to say was, in your day-to-day life, a lot of people are living very like surface level. Like, I'm just not going to go deep. First of all, I don't know that I can trust other people. And also like, who cares? Like then I'll be too bothered. They're afraid of emotion. They'd rather not go there. So again, it's okay. You can kind of stay there. You're not going to feel as good. Your relationships won't be as deep. You're not going to get the connections that like, there's a part of you that really will thrive on deeper connections, but you're not really letting yourself get there. And so, I don't know.
Right.
Sounds kind of blah to me.
It's blah. Right. Like it's really risky, but it's like worth the risk.
Yeah. Risk reward. Right.
Right. That's what it comes down to. You're risking your heart. You're risking your emotions in day to day. And people that sometimes say they don't care are the ones that care the most.
How could you not? Like really,
we're all human.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend, whatever, an experience that I saw, and she's she prides herself on not caring. And I'm like, no, it's not that you don't care. It's just that you're passive.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so interesting. So I had an experience recently where I was in a group, and like a processing group, and a woman didn't show up to the group, and some of the other members were really upset at her. And I was like, it's fine. Like she obviously was busy. She couldn't come. And, as we processed it, because that's what you do in a process group, you process what's happening. And it was interesting to notice how, like, that's my tendency, is to be like, it's fine. If you don't have such high expectations of the people around you, then you're just going to say, like, it's fine. Oh, you didn't show up for me? It's fine. Oh, I had a surgery and you didn't come visit? It's fine. I know you were busy. But really, like, no, you want to learn that I'm worthy of the deeper relationships. I'm worthy of having people show up to me.
I'm worthy of you showing up.
Yeah. And P.S. anyone who's not showing up for their friends, like, I don't know if you can expect it if it's not going both ways, but like, if you're the one who's
I used to always say it's fine. I'd be like, yeah, don't come. It's fine. But I didn't think that inside.
Okay.
I wanted to just be easy.
Right.
Cause then like I won't, like also I didn't want people to go out of their way for me. Cause yeah, there was a part of me that didn't feel worth it. Like, why would you come? Like for me, like why? Like I'm such a nothing. But now I'm like, no, like I would show up for you. Like, yeah, you should show up for me. Like there's a certain amount of respect that I have for myself, you know?
Yeah.
Like I care about that.
I think easy is safe. Easy feels safe.
But it's very empty.
Deep. Yeah.
Right.
It's not true. It's not authentic. It's not really connective.
Right.
So
we're all human. We want to connect. We want to be together. We want to be seen.
yeah,
That's what it comes down to.
absolutely. Yeah. For me, that was very eye-opening. Like, oh, because I don't even like expect it. And I should expect it actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should expect it and you should say it. Yeah. You know, like also a lot of times people want you to show up and you might not necessarily know that because for whatever reason, like they never made you feel like that, or like it was very much like they always said like, it's fine. It's fine. So you think that like if someone tells me it's fine, you can come or not, I'm going to take that like you can come or not. I'm not going to really like do Perish Rashi. But if you want someone, I think is just a very good point. Like if you want someone to show up for you, it's okay to say it. Like, you know, I would really appreciate if you came. Like it would mean a lot to me to see you. Like I really want you to come. I really want you to come. That makes you a little bit vulnerable. Okay, but if they don't come and you don't say it, then who are you to blame? Like they didn't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Be clear.
I want you to come. I want you to come early.
Yeah.
You know?
I want to tell you a story that my daughter, she was like running late to the bus and she didn't have time to prepare breakfast. And she called two of her friends. I guess she wasn't sure if one would answer or she left a message. And she said, can you bring breakfast for me on the bus? I was like, that's amazing. Like, I don't think I ever would have asked them, like, could you bring me breakfast? Like, it's fine. It's fine. So I thought that was great. Like the fact that she was able to ask her friends, like so easily, could you do something for me? And of course they were happy because they both brought her avocado toast. So she had two breakfasts.
That's so cute.
It was so nice. Like,
that is so cute.
And so
I love that.
nice for me as a parent to see that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so.
She feels so natural in herself.
Yeah. It's safe to ask. Why not?
Right. And it's so true. Like, I always think about myself, like, would I care to do that thing? No. So why can I ask someone else?
Right.
You know?
It's true.
Chances are it's fine. Like everyone's happy to help.
More than fine. I think it shows like a closeness. I remember asking somebody who was making a wedding and I said to her, like, can I do something? Like, tell me what I can do for you. And she didn't tell me anything, which is fine. She didn't have to, but I really would have felt closer to her if she would have said, can you pick up the dry cleaners, or can you, pick up my son's shoes, or drop off so-and-so, or bring this one to the makeup artist. Like that to me is closeness. We're obviously really close if you feel like you can ask me. And if you feel like, no, it's fine, then I don't like, oh, maybe we're not as close as I thought.
Right. And I know someone who can't ask. And I know that she wants to, but she just can't. And I'm just like, I feel bad for you because you're blocking yourself.
That's it.
You know, like I know I'm secure in this friendship. I know we're close. I feel bad that you can't get past this layer, you know, like it's okay. Like you don't have to be so afraid. People want to be there for each other. You know, we stop it.
I don't know what that is. Is that the avoidance? Is that, they don't want to feel their emotions, they don't want to be a burden. It could be a combination of those things. Every person will have
a lot of it's learned behavior. You learn to be a certain way. You learn to take up less space. You learn to be okay. You learn to just deal with whatever you have. And you don't want to get hurt. You don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You don't want to put yourself out there and ask because the chances are someone's going to say no. And then you're like, I knew it. Like it confirms everything. Right. And it's so much of that. And so many people don't want to open their heart. So it's too scary. I don't want to deal with, shame or I don't know, whatever feeling. Rejected. Rejected is the biggest one. And whether it's the slightest little thing or a big thing, they rather just go into their corner and then they'll be safe because they're not going to reject themselves.
That's it.
But I think that by not putting yourself out there, by even asking, you're rejecting yourself every minute. Because the truth is that you know what you want. You know you want to be connected. You know you don't want to feel alone. But you're refusing to go a little bit out of yourself. So, you're rejecting your truest self every minute.
Yeah, just for staying safe in the moment. But it's not, the payoff is not worth it.
Right. And I think that this is a very interesting topic that we're talking about because I think now more than ever, it's so prevalent because we can all be alone and feel not alone because we're just on our phone.
Yeah.
And we can mask ourselves by feeling like we're doing something or connecting. We're not connecting. You're the most alone. And then you go off the phone and you feel like a piece of crap because you're alone. But it's so scary and so vulnerable to go out there and make real connections that, yeah, it's safer to just be on the couch. I'll scroll.
That's it. It keeps going back to the idea of safety. And if you just aren't willing to trust people, then you're going to be stuck in that aloneness, which is really sad. So I always, there's a few ways of being able to learn how to trust. I like to say that take a chance on someone who you feel like maybe could meet your expectations. Like do a little test run, like maybe ask them for something, or, even see if they want to have a cup of coffee with you, like put something out there and see if you get that energy back from them, and like see if that's something that you can build on.
I agree with you, but I would also say that when you ask and when you put the energy out, put it out from a place of, I don't need this, I want this.
Right.
Because nobody wants needy energy.
No desperation.
No. And the other person is going to feel it. But if you're coming from a place of, it's like, I'm so okay with myself and I love hanging out with myself. Now I'm also ready to open myself up to someone else.
Yes.
That's a good place to come from.
Such a good point.
You know what I mean?
Come from a place of openness, of wanting to connect, not from like needing company desperately right now.
Right.
Just,
Exactly.
yeah, let's connect.
Okay. The next point that I wrote down is suffering is universal. We're all suffering on some level, somewhere, somehow. If you didn't, buckle up. Trauma is personal. So the fact that she refuses trauma, like pain is pain, a broken childhood, a failed marriage, infertility, betrayal, all these things, they're real prisons. But this makes the book deeply relevant to every listener. Trauma, every person has their own trauma that they're going through. It's not one and the same. Like, oh, just because one person's going through this, it's like, this is what it is. This is the biggest trauma. And, we all have to feel like everything that someone's going through, whether it's big, small, it's a big deal to them. We're all suffering on some level, but it's so nuanced and it's so personal to every person.
Yeah.
Based
on your capacity, based on so much. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably see this also. Like someone could come to you with something that's so in your mind, not a big deal. And you're like, okay, fine. Like it's a big deal for you.
Yeah, I can't say, I guess I have that like empathic piece. So I don't think I've ever thought that about somebody, that like it's not a big deal, because I really do get it. That like, I remember actually somebody else telling me about her sister was complaining about XYZ, and she's like, how could she was divorced and her sister was complaining about something that she felt was like a silly complaint. And I was like, it wasn't a client. I wouldn't say it if it was. But I said to her, like, to her, I guess that's a big deal. Like on her level, like, based on what she's been through, this is a lot for her right now. You in your circumstance, you're thinking like that, like I would trade that for that in a heartbeat. Like that's really not a big deal. But for her, it truly, truly is, right? Even if it's something as small as like my baby's nap time is going to be disrupted. Obviously, she's getting very dysregulated from that. So something's happening.
There's something deeper there.
Something there.
Right. There's something there.
Yeah.
The truth is, I had a therapist who told me, like, she literally said it wasn't, like, I was talking to her about something and she's like, it's not a big deal. I'm like, what? Like, I'm not paying you. Like, it was
interesting.
Yeah, it was really not okay. Like, she was like, what did she say? She said, like, it was like October, it was around October 7th time. I'm sorry that like I had an issue during October 7th. Like, I'm sorry. Wow. And she was like, listen, there are bigger problems in the world. I'm like,
wow. Okay, I am not a therapist who's like, validate. Cause like, I'm not going to be a yes person, but you do have to validate. Like you have to validate and you don't want to keep up, but like we all need validation to a certain extent. Again, not necessarily coming from, place of insecurity always, but we want to hear feedback. And especially in therapy, like you want to feel held.
That's the only thing I want. That from literally,
that is
from your therapist. Like that's what you want, and I don't think it was a small thing. Like I think it was but the truth is, every person's things are nuanced. It's personal. Mm-hmm. It's so specific. And like we're all going through different things, and it's not the same for somebody else.
I always am surprised whenever there's, something like October 7th or other things that happen in the Jewish world. And it's always interesting to see how some people are affected by it and they come in with it, and a lot of people aren't, and they're still focused on what's going on in their world, and that's valid because that's what's going on in their world right now, and maybe they don't have capacity to hold things on a macro level. So it's not a right or wrong.
Or they could hold both. I don't see it as, October 7th was very much impacted me, and I cried so much, but there was I was still living my life, and I also think that this might sound bad, but I think that people who go crazy for these different kinds of world events, and they get so dysregulated to a point where they're like infused and totally embodied in trauma. Like it's triggering their trauma. But more than that, I think that it's displaced emotion. I think when you cannot go in, you just grapple onto everything in the world because it's easier to feel that.
Oh, that's interesting. You're saying they're projecting it in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It makes so much sense. Like when you watch a movie and you cry, but you can't cry with your own life, so it's like so much of that. And I just see so much fear, so much like trauma, so much Holocaust, PTSD, like all that, like you just see it so obvious, like, like we get so dysregulated. It is scary. I'm not going to take that away. It is. I'm human. I'm living in the world. I see it. Of course, it's terrifying. But to go to a place that's beyond dysregulating where you can't continue on through your life, like that's a problem. And it's happening so much now because the news is rampant, and we've never, ever been in a position in our entire life where we've consumed so much information in this 24-hour span of time. It's not norm. Our brains are not wired to hold that and eat that and consume that. It's crazy. So we're automatically getting dysregulated on a day to day. Like you have to pull back. Like if it's too much for you, don't watch. You're not a bad person if you're not watching. Like I care. I daven. I really care. I'm not a robot. I have a heart, but like, if it's going to affect you, if it's going to affect the way you're living, it's going to affect your husband, it's going to affect your family, your kids, then what are you doing? You're definitely not changing anything. You're not going into Gaza. We're not, let's be real. Like the change is not happening that way. And so what are you doing? We think that by watching, we're controlling nothing. We have no say. And the only thing you're doing is creating fear, creating a more dysregulated system, which already was dysregulated because trust me, your parents were also dysregulated. And so what's happening now? We're just continuing the cycle and infusing so much worry into the world. So the only thing I would say is watch less and really just daven more and trust more and put out those vibes into the world. Worrying it's just not conducive for you on a personal level. It's not conducive for the world.
Yeah. So you're saying that's really, you were noticing like the anxiousness is almost misplaced in a way.
Misplaced, and it's just getting more.
And it's
more and more.
Right. Because we were never really meant to be absorbing so much. Like now we have it in the palms of our hands, right? You're checking it in the morning, checking it in the afternoon, you're checking it before you go to sleep, and like 1,000 times in between. So you're just constantly on top of like the bad things that are happening.
And it keeps reaffirming all our negative beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah, the emotional inheritance piece of the trauma is what I was thinking about as you were saying that also for a lot of people who are carrying like inherited trauma, that it's very activating and they might not even realize why.
Exactly. That's huge.
Yeah.
To me, I just see it so clearly, and they want to reaffirm that because we all want to know what we believe is true. It gives us security.
Yes.
See, the world is bad. See, like whatever. My family is Israeli, so antisemim. Okay, I get it. I'm not denying it. We live in the same world, but like, why do we have to talk about it every second? Because they're holding on to the negative, to all that negativity. It gives them validation in a way.
Interesting. So also what you were saying before is like, if you are able to make space for your feelings, if you're a person who already knows how to do that, then you probably are able to carry it in a more balanced way because maybe you are distressed or stressed or upset or whatever it is, but you also know how to manage it versus like, like holding that intensity, having all that intensity.
Right.
So
there are people that are really, really, truly in therapy for all the scary things that are going on in the world right now. I'm sure you know.
Which is fine. And that's fine. That's a valid place. That's actually a really healthy way to.
That is healthy, but it just shows us how much trauma and PTSD we're holding on to.
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's just it's triggering something that's deep under the surface.
Yeah. And I think everyone's carrying pieces of it always. Like you said, like there's no one who goes through unscathed. Like everyone is carrying something, and you don't have to make space for it if you don't want to. No one's forcing you. You're an adult. But if you do, like, it's almost like you can exhale. You can sit down a burden.
Right.
Like, you can
Nothing will necessarily change. It's just the intention of how you go through life changes.
Yeah.
More
enjoyment, more peace of mind, honestly.
More rich. It gives you a richness. Hold on. Okay, so this is literally what we're talking about. You're not stuck, you're avoiding. So yeah, how people react to their own prisons, why discomfort is the doorway to freedom, and how Eva's story destroys the modern excuses. So it's like what you're saying, like you have to do a little bit of the discomfort. Yes, you're an adult. You don't have to, but if you do, like, then you're just going to have a completely different life experience.
Yeah.
Like
Challenge yourself a little.
Challenge yourself a little.
Out of your comfort zone. Make that your comfort zone.
How does that look like practically, like to challenge ourselves, like go a little bit out of our.
Yeah. So this is a great example also for anyone who's like a people pleaser or feels like they can't say no. Like, it's fine, right? Can you pick up my kids? I'm running late. Can you pick up my kids from school? And so a part of your brain might be like, oh, yeah, like, of course I want to say, yeah, like I'm not saying no, like it's my neighbor or my sister-in-law or whatever. But what if like you have a dentist appointment that you're getting to? Oh, it's fine. I'll just be 15 minutes late. Right. But then they might not take you. Right. So like sometimes it works and you really can do it. And sometimes you really cannot. Like you can't. Now, a dentist appointment is easy to say, oh, I'm going to an appointment, so I can't. But maybe there's another reason that you can't, but maybe you don't want to share it. And you don't have to share the reason. But maybe you need to allow yourself to lean into the reason. Maybe it's, I can't because I'm not going to have time to make dinner then. And then this kid's going to throw a fit. And then I'm going to be exhausted. And then my husband will come home and the whole evening will just be a bust. So like, I can't. I really can't.
That's so interesting that you're choosing this as the example to go slowly into choosing discomfort to, what's it called? What's I going to say? Choosing it to the doorway of freedom, like that you're using this example. Why are you choosing this specific thing? It's so interesting to me.
I think I just want it to be like relatable, like something that's really in your day-to-day life, like because we do want to help people, we do want to be there, and it's part of
because saying no is uncomfortable. You're saying
no could be really uncomfortable,
and saying yes is the easier answer, even though it
might not work for you. Like it might just not work for you, because I'm all about like, great, do I said, like go out of your comfort zone if you can, but like sometimes it really. You just have to say no, and it's so hard.
But people will challenge you and say that, we live in a very me, narcissistic generation. So how do you like differentiate between the two? Saying no because it's not working for you, or choosing to essentially be a narcissist?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what's coming down to nowadays.
Thank you for saying that, because I don't want anyone to misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm definitely not a fan of like me. And at the same time, I will say, like, make space for yourself, think about yourself. And I never want that to get misconstrued as that doesn't mean I have to take other people into account. Think about yourself, be honest with yourself. So really it goes back to, if I'm able to be really honest with my emotions and I really know what I need, what I want, what I'm feeling, then I can make really honest and good decisions. Because I really know. It's like a little annoying for me to make that extra stop for you, but like, I can do it. I can. Or even like, okay, so it means, let me see, can I be flexible? So instead of making that side dish, which takes me 20 minutes, I'll make that one that takes me 10 minutes. Like, okay, okay, fine, I'll do it. Right? If you're able to know, like, do I have the capacity to be flexible? Can I push myself? I really wanted that one. Sometimes you have to know when you actually can give a little bit more, but you have to be honest with yourself, because if you're not, then you're going to be like, of course, I always could. That's not really true. I mean, I don't think that's humanly possible. How can it be that you're always available and ready? And it just, I don't know if that's honesty.
Right. What's driving you to say that? Right. What's like, is it the fear? Is it fear of rejection? Is it just wanting to...
You don't like me.
Right. It comes back to everything we're saying. And then like
acceptance.
Right. Being passive. Right. So it's so true. Relationships are one of the highest forms of richness in our life. But if we don't have a relationship first with ourselves, we can't get to the richness with others.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. That's why you're using this example.
Right. Or even another example would be like going out to simcha. Like maybe you're not so in the mood, but like if you're able to do it for somebody, like do the things that you're able to. If they're a little hard or you're just not in the mood, it's different than if it really will have like an impact on you in some bigger way, right? Like I guess going back to what we were saying before about estrangement, like if something feels like too much, you will know it. If you're attuned with yourself, if you're in tune with your feelings, you will know when it's too much. So that's why I often go back to that. The feelings piece. Feel your feelings. Let yourself feel your feelings. It's going to show up in so many places in your life, the way you show up for others and the richness of the relationship.
I find that it's like a very defining factor for me is the resentment piece. If I don't feel resentment, then I know it was true. But if I do feel resentment, then I wasn't true to myself.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. Many years ago, no, not that many, but years ago on Instagram, I put something called a boundary barometer. And that was exactly what I said. How do you know when you're crossing your boundaries? When the resentment is there. Because if there's resentment, then you've gone a little too far.
Then you're just not being true to yourself. There's a voice inside that's really saying, make a U-turn.
Yeah.
Okay, you said the word boundaries. So like, people also really have a hard time with that word.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
So why?
Okay, because here's what you have to know about boundaries. Boundaries are not set in stone. Boundaries are flexible, which might be shocking to people because like your boundaries are hard stop. Hard stop unless something changes on the other end. How can I say I never this or I always this? How can you say that?
Life is not like that.
Yeah.
Right. So many things are happening.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're so boundaried, like what you're saying, then you need different boundaries.
Then it's probably being driven by like some kind of fear. Something is like really scared of going past that.
Right.
And also boundaries are never about punishing the other person. It's not like I'm going to do this, so you're going to have to change. It's not about like you have to, it's not about control. It's not about punishment. I think people get freaked out with boundaries and also like blame the therapist for the boundaries. Therapists are not trying to hurt anybody's relationships, but we're trying to make them stronger. And when there's a boundary, and this is another example, like if you ask me to do a favor and I say, I'm so sorry, I'm just not available right now, then you know that the next time I say yes, you can trust me that I'm doing it because I really can. How do you know that? Because I said no when I couldn't. If I always say yes, then you'll be like, I don't know, I know she'll say yes, but like I don't want to impose. But you
Such a good point.
I'm saying no.
That's such a good point. I love that. That's great. That makes so much sense. I like that. Like now I know who, like, you know this on a subconscious level, but like, no, I like that makes a lot of sense. Okay. What else do I have? I think we're pretty much done. I think the bottom line is that I love this book, The Choice, because at the end of the day, you always have a choice. Like even when it feels like you don't, the fact that we feel like we're powerless, it's just an illusion. Like we have so much power. Again, like I said, like we're all we can put our heads, our whole body in a bubble. It's an imaginary bubble and you're in it. Like you have the power to decide what goes into your thoughts, you know? And why choice is so terrifying, like what you're saying, but it's also so freeing. I think that's like the biggest lesson of the day.
Yeah. And even if you have to do something, you get to choose how to approach that, right? If there's something, I don't know, you committed to something or you're in a certain situation and you're like, no, there's really no choice. There might not be a choice in the action, but there's a choice in how you approach the action. And that's where the choice lies.
Exactly. And one more thing she talks about, I don't even know if it's in this book or not, but I love this concept of, we spoke about it a little bit in the beginning, but I want to tie it in now at the end. This concept of how when we don't talk about our shame, the truth releases the shame, you know? And the more you speak and the more you release, you don't have to say lashon hara. We don't have to say anything bad. We don't have to be mean. But the more you speak your truth, just talk it out, speak to a friend. Don't hold it in all the time. It's just going to be that ugly friend that I had before in my pocket that was so codependent and all the things. Just start communicating, talking. I say this to people so much. Like when you talk, you don't only heal yourself, you're healing the next person, you know, and then we can all release the shame.
Yeah.
That's like it's so invisible, but it's so there and you're carrying it for no reason.
Yeah. Shame thrives in hidden places, right? As soon as you shine a flashlight on it, like it's going to scatter more. And trauma really gets healed in the retelling of stories. So beware. Don't go around telling your trauma story to every, Tom, Dick, and Harry. But like a trusted friend, a spouse, a therapist, like it's okay to go and say it again and again. And sometimes the person might feel like you know this already, or I think I said this already, but it's coming up for you. So say it again. It's okay. Keep telling it. Like that's part of you healing your trauma. That's not really being stuck in it. You're airing it out. You're letting it process through the storytelling of it.
Yeah. It's such a big deal. And I just think that so many people think that by saying it, they're going to impose or they're going to sound so heavy and they don't want to, or they're just going to be embarrassed, or people are going to think of them a certain way, or they're going to be judged. There's so many things that we hold on to our stuff and we don't let it go. But the truth is, the more I'm, speaking myself and doing all the things myself, I'm realizing that more than not, the other person has the same thing. And when you talk, you give people permission to do it, and make people feel so seen. Like someone said to me, like, it's crazy, like you're so open and you're so real, and I was like, at the end of the day, like what you said, like we're all human, like we're only human, and might as well. We're all doing it. We're all here. We're all going through these things. There's only a certain amount of things in this human earthly existence. That we all have 10 fingers. We all have 2 eyes. So there's only a certain amount of experiences that we can be experiencing in this world. And that's why so many of these different reels and things are so relatable, because we're like, how is that person in Idaho literally having the same thing as me and my husband on the couch? Because we're human.
Yeah.
And this is what human beings have. We have these experiences. There are different kinds, and there's different kinds of illnesses, and end of the day, we're still capped in a human experience. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if we're all going through it, might as well do it together. Why not?
Why not? And I just would say, relatable doesn't mean that you're connected. So you could relate, like if you're scrolling on Instagram and you're like, relate. It's not the same thing as having real life human connection.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So just like to caution people are like, oh, that's so relatable, or like that person really gets me. Good. So then reach out to them, see if they'll connect to you, or find a therapist or whatever it is. But like connect to a real person, because
by the way, what you're saying is so true. Because even me, like when I see people sending me messages, I'm like, I don't know, to me, you're just it's just a message. But then when I get on a call with them, or I get on a Zoom and I see their face, it's a totally different love. Right? Like now we connected. Right. Now we're together in this experience. Different connection amplifies it to a different level. So what you're saying is 100% true.
I just don't want anyone to like get stuck in it again. Like you can read all the books and you can listen to all the podcasts, but if you're not like integrating it into your life and like actually doing something different and making an active change, then it's all just information.
Wow, we covered a lot of good stuff.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Good. So thank you so much, Robin. Is there anything you want to leave the audience off with?
I think just to bring it like full circle, just like get more comfortable feeling your feelings. It's the best thing you can do for yourself, for your relationships. So try it.
Okay. Thank you.